Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
Good morning, it's the Workers Beat. I'm Gene Lantz. The number here is 972-647-1893. Workers Beat is about workers. Here's a statement from the station. KNON is deeply saddened by the events that took place at the town of West Texas this week. Many items are needed for the town, including bottled water, toiletries, baby items, blankets, and pet food. Items such as this can be taken to the KJT Society, located at 1216 South Paris Street in Ennis. Monetary donations are being collected by the SPJST organization. For information or to make a donation, their website is spjst.org. SPJST is Sierra Papa Juliet Sierra Tango.org. That's our statement from KNON about the situation in West Texas. Now I want to give a little bit about what's coming up. This is good news. It is very good news to see so much fight back going on in America today, because I think if you look back a little ways, we were accused of being asleep or being accused of half dead, or you know, the joke used to be that the apathy rally has been canceled because of lack of interest. So we don't joke like that anymore. We're hitting the streets. On April the 24th, it's going to be a big day. Starting at 6:30, the Communication Workers of America are leafleting and early in the morning. It's at 6:30. Let's see, I've got the time and place here. From 6:30 to 8:30 at the Eisman Center, 2351 Performance Drive in Richardson. Have you got your calendar out? Are you looking at this? 6:30 in the morning on Friday. No. It's on Wednesday, April the 24th. So, another thing is happening on April 24th. The Transport Workers Union is leafleting at Love Field, and we think that's going to be at 9 o'clock, but we're not positive, so I'll look up Transport Workers Union to be sure. And their issue is outsourcing, which is kind of everybody's issue. In other words, jobs are being sent somewhere else. April the 24th is also the National Day of Action on hours and scheduling at Walmart. Now, somebody from Walmart can call and clear this up, because I got one email said we're definitely going to do something on April 24th, and then I got another one that says it's going to be April 25th. So you might want to call us and clear that up, 972-647-1893. Anyway, we need to get behind the Walmart workers the best we can. We think it's going to be April 25th at 2 o'clock at 9301 Forest Lane. That's 2 o'clock at 9301 Forest Lane. Put it on your calendar. The Making Change at Walmart campaign is calling on community supporters for a National Day of Action on April 24th. Our Walmart workers and allies will be calling on Walmart to keep its public commitments on hours and scheduling. Now, all kinds of protests take place the week of April 22 through April 26th, and this will be around SMU. Now, I don't know exactly where they're going to be, because since the President of the United States and the last 3 or 4 presidents of the United States, in fact, I think all the living presidents of the United States are going to be up there for the opening of the Bush Library and Foundation, and that's what they're protesting. So if you want to protest the idea that George Bush ran a nice, clean presidency and there was no torture and no lies and no attacks against workers, we'll go on up there and celebrate with George Bush. But if you don't want to, you can get out on the street with the protesters. On April the 27th, I will be the speaker at the College of Complexes at the Mecca restaurant on Live Oak in East Dallas. I think it's Live Oak in, Gaston? Live Oak anyway, in East Dallas, the Mecca restaurants that start at 6:30. Now they have another one tonight. They do this every Saturday. It's pretty interesting. On May the 1st, I'll be speaking at the celebration of May Day at SMU. Don't know the place yet, but I know the time. It's at 6:30 on May the 1st. And on April 28th, the communication workers tell us that April 28th is Workers' Memorial Day. We have a special reason to celebrate Workers' Memorial Day this year because that's when we remember the folks who got injured or killed on the job. And since about half the town of West Texas got blown up, and some of them were working on the job when they got blown up, then we have a special occasion to remember Workers' Memorial Day on April 28th this year. Records from the Federal Occupation Safety and Health Administration, that's OSHA, their records record that the agency's last inspection of the West Fertilizer Plant in West Texas occurred 28 years ago in 1985. The agent found 5 violations that were considered serious, including some improper handling of anhydrous ammonia. And the company was fined, you can be sure, by OSHA. The company was fined $30. On May the 4th, there will be the 13th Annual Peace Conference, A World of Women for World Peace, which will take place at the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas, 2200 North Pearl Street, Dallas, Texas, on Saturday, May the 4th. But you have to, if you're going to go, you have to RSVP by April the 23rd to Sharon Tavakoli. This is going to be in Eddie Bernice Johnson's office, and the number is 214-922-8885. Congresswoman Johnson's been doing this annual meeting of Women for World Peace, and that's an excellent thing. Now, the day before that, May the 3rd at 6:30, will be the tribute to Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson, and the tribute will be given by Congressman Mark Vesey, the new congressman. He's my congressman. I'm really proud of him. And he'll be giving a tribute to Eddie Bernice Johnson at the Postal Workers Hall at 6:30 on May the 3rd. So try to get a ticket and come to that. You can find out about that on the website texasretiredameriCans.org. texasretiredameriCans.org. Okay, that's a list of stuff for your calendar. Here's another one. I don't really know anything about this. Maybe somebody does. May the 8th, a Mexican priest has been touring the United States, and he's supposed to be here to talk about immigration. So that'll be a good thing. So mark your calendar, and if you have any questions or comments about any of this stuff, call us at 972-647-1893. My guest just walked in, and I'm trying to get him over here. Here's some more stuff. Here's a report from the Central Labor Council. You know, Central Labor Council meets on third Thursday of every month, and if you are a member of an affiliated union, then you're entitled to come to it. You don't have a vote, though, because it's just a certain number of people have a vote. It's painfully democratic. It takes a long time to get things done at these council meetings, and this one was a pretty good one we had on Thursday night. The Transport Workers Union announced that they are leafleting at Love Field over outsourcing. Mark York from that union said they are taking a bus to Austin on April the 29th, and on the way down to Austin, they will be dropping donations off for West Texas. And to find out more about that, you should look on Facebook under Dallas AFL-CIO. We held a moment of silence for the West and the Boston disasters at the Central Labor Council meeting. We got an announcement from the Alliance AFT, that's the school teachers union, that they are phone banking 5 to 8 p.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm pretty sure it is, from 5 to 8 p.m. And their headquarters is in the Bishop Arts District down at Bishop and Center Streets in Oak Cliff. 972-647-1893 if you got a question or a comment. ATU 1338, that's Amalgamated Transit Workers Union and Amalgamated Transit Union, and they are the drivers and maintenance people for DART. and they are starting a Writers Association if you're interested in that. We had an announcement at the Central Labor Council meeting that the flight attendants are continuing to fight to keep knives off of airplanes, because the government just lately said that you can bring a knife on the airplane. It has to be a little bitty knife, and there's other requirements. But anyway, the flight attendants don't want no knives on the airplanes for reasons that should be obvious, and they're continuing to work on that. We did our endorsements for school board and endorsements for city council. Here they are. For school board, place 4, Labor endorsed Luis Hernandez. On place 7, we endorsed Rafael Narvaez III. Rafael Narvaez III. And then the endorsement for city council, place 1, that's where I live, they had a dual endorsement for both candidates, Sister Delia Hasso and Scott Griggs. Interestingly enough, both of them are incumbents, and both of them are really good people that Labor liked, so they just had to endorse both of them. In place 2, they endorsed Adam Medrano. Place 3, Vanciel Hill. Number 4, Dwayne Caraway. Number 5, Jesse Diaz. Number 6, Monica R. Alonso. Number 7, Carolyn Davis. Number 8, Tanel Atkins. And number 14, Robert Abdahi. Then we went on and we elected new trustees at the Central Labor Council. The new trustees will be Nancy Lee, Louis Fulbright, and yours truly, Gene Lantz. So that was the meeting that we had Thursday. I invite everybody that's a member of an affiliated union to come to Central Labor Council meetings on the 3rd Thursday of every month at 1408 North Washington. And there he is, my guest, Robert Bouchet. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so glad you're here.
Me too. I got lost.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And, of course, you're not as familiar with Dallas as some people are, because you live somewhere else, right?
Right. I live in Annecy. It's a small town about 20 miles south of Geneva.
Geneva, Switzerland?
Yes.
You live in Switzerland?
No. I live in France. Geneva is a border town, and 20 miles after Switzerland, it's France.
So you're in France?
Yes.
Something I always want to know, do they use toilet paper in France or not? Because, you hear both things.
No, of course.
They do use toilet paper in France. All right, you heard it first here on KNON. We got the straight scoop from an actual Frenchman. 972-647-1893. The reason I was so interested in having you, Robert, is because what's going on around the world is of great interest to us, but we don't get much of an insight into it. And it seems to me that in Europe, there's some fight back going on over this question of austerity. Is that true?
That is right. And in fact, the austerity is planned by the governments, mostly by the conservative governments. Mm-hmm. And the austerity only brings more austerity.
Okay, so when they cut your salary today, that just means they're going to cut you again tomorrow.
No, that means that you're going to consume less. And, of course, it was going to accelerate the crisis process.
Uh-huh.
And therefore, if you consume less, you buy less. And therefore, the companies produce less, and then
we lose more jobs.
Exactly. It's kind of an avalanche process.
But it's also true, isn't it, that when they take a bite out of you, they're just going to come back and take another bite later. I mean, it's not like when they tell you that we're going to solve the economy by cutting your salary in half. That's not true.
That is absolutely not true, and that's what the people are fighting back.
And there's a fight back going on in France, or?
Oh yes. There's a lot of strikes. There's a lot of unions that are asking the right questions and doing the right things in order to fight the salary cutbacks.
As you were walking in, Robert, you heard me list a long list of protests that are coming on. Now, each one of those is separate.
Yes.
And they're not. There's really in this town, there's no overall fight back where you would say that somebody's fighting back against austerity in general. But is that also the case in Europe, that we only have fragmented, separate or little?
It is very fragmented, but they're not necessarily small.
Not small, huh?
Well, there is a certain. The problem. the union and the labor unions have been declining in the 80s and 90s. Exactly, because of the wealth of the people that was increasing. So the militants were running away, they had a flat screen TV, and everything was fine. Now with the crisis, it seems seems to have a regain of voting and militants and people approaching the syndicates and
when you say syndicates, you mean unions?
Yeah, unions. Syndicat is a French word, I guess.
Yeah, and sindicato in Spanish.
That's right.
But it's still unions.
That's right.
And of course, they're organized completely differently in France. Here in the United States, the unions generally stand independent of the political parties, even though they end up endorsing Democrats nearly all the time because of their records. And over there, you actually start with a political party, and then the political party creates the union. Is that not correct?
Not really, but there are some unions that are pretty much endorsed by political parties and vice versa.
Well, wait a minute. Now, I said over here, a union might endorse a candidate, but not a party. And you're saying that over there, the parties endorse the unions.
Well, they have close ties, even though they are separate entities and separate management. The CFDT is close to the Socialist Party versus the CGT that is close to the Communist Party.
And those are the two main ones?
Those are the two historically. Those are the two main ones.
But there are actually quite a few unions.
Oh yes, there's about 10 of them.
Different federations.
Different federations.
We had a split here in the United States. About 6-7 years ago. Where some of the unions went off and formed a federation called Change to Win, and the other union stayed in the AFL-CIO. And we thought that was terrible. You know, we thought it's terrible to have two different federations. But in France, you have a bunch of federations.
Well, a bunch of unions, and there's really not a federation of unions. So they meet together, of course, but every union makes their own decisions.
I see. So they don't pull together on elections by any means.
Well, no.
Here in the United States, pretty much the labor movement does get behind candidates together. And here in Dallas, I just read off the list of endorsements in the races that we endorsed. In the races where the Dallas AFL-CIO endorsed, we expect all the unions that are affiliated with the AFL-CIO to stick to that program and endorse and help only those candidates. However, there's no way to make them do it, so they can do anything they want to. And not all unions are affiliated with the AFL-CIO in Dallas. So there's a little bit of leeway there, but not like in France, where, as you said, the unions just go their own way.
Well, normally they go their own way, but even though they do not endorse officially candidate, they strongly recommend off the record such or such candidate that follows the union programs.
So in some ways, and I have also heard, and I don't know if this is a true fact or not, but I've also heard that the French unions are actually, there's not as much union density as there is even here in the United States, which is not very good. We'll be right back.
I got to work this morning. Something seemed kind of strange.
So much pain, we don't know how to be but angry.
Statistics say 1.5 million teenagers experience dating abuse every year.
Only 33% report it.
Let's break the cycle.
Love is not abuse.
If you or someone you know is experiencing teen dating abuse, get help now.
For immediate, confidential assistance, call 866-331-9474 or log on to loveisrespect.org.
You can also text Love Is to 77054.
To learn more about what abuse is and the resources available to you, visit loveisnotabuse.com.
You don't have to be afraid.
Call 866-331-9474.
Store the number in your phone for future use.
866-331-9474.
Know how to get help for yourself or someone you know.
We now now have fewer than 500 copies left. That's right, fewer than 500 copies left of the Knon Texas Blues Radio Volume 5 Blues CD. Texas Blues Radio features great blues from Tutu Jones, Blues Boy Bo, Buddy Whittington, Andrea Dawson, Kirkland James, Sonny Colley, Johnny Red and the Roosters, the Chris Watson Band, the Two Tones, Rough Cut Blues Band, Jeff Stone and Charlie Love, Dave Millsap, Sirloin and the Ass Kicking Machine, Michael J. and the Paul Bird Band, and JJ and the Detonators. Get your copy now at Forever Young Records in Grand Prairie, Recordtown in Fort Worth, and in Dallas at Bill's Records. Destined to be a Dallas Blues collectible, a very limited amount of vinyl copies can be found at Forever Young Records, the sponsor of this great blues project. CD downloads are now only $11 at cdbaby.com. Whether you get it as a download, on vinyl, or on CD, all the proceeds benefit KNON. More information at knon.org.
This is William, your videographer for the KNON talk shows. You can watch Workers Beat by going to knon.org website. Click on schedules to the left side of your screen. Choose Workers Beat's page. Scroll to the bottom of the page, then choose your favorite show to watch or download. This show will be ready for viewing by lunchtime Tuesday. Have a great day.
Blue Monday.
I hate Blue Monday. I used to be on Monday, but now we're happy on Saturday. 972-647-1893. If you're interested in conversing with us about international unionism, what's going on in Europe, we have Robert Bouchet, who lives in France, almost in Switzerland, and visits Dallas quite often. But, sir, you also went to Spain, did you not?
I spent 2 months this winter in Spain.
And what's the level of political activity there?
Well, it's increasing since 1 person out of 4 is unemployed.
1 in 4 is unemployed in Spain. And they started these big demonstrations in parks 3 or 4 years ago that actually inspired the Occupy movement here in the United States. Now, I was going to ask you about the size of demonstrations and activities. Here in Dallas, we're going to be protesting the Bush Library, not because of the library, but because he's setting up a little conservative think tank in there where they'll be planning torture and lying and cheating and stuff that George Bush was famous for. And there'll be a protest, and I would say we would probably be very happy if we got 300 people. So compare that to something might happen in Spain. How many people would you expect to see at a big demonstration in Spain?
In a big city like Dallas, which would be probably Barcelona or Valencia, there would be a lot more turnout.
There would be more than 300.
Well, it depends on the issue. Well, it depends on the issue, and
well, I'm talking about maximum.
The maximum probably. In Annecy, we had a demonstration, which is a town of about 150,000 people, and, well, we're counting the suburbs, and we had pretty close to 10,000 people.
10,000?
Yes.
In a little town of 150,000?
Yes.
Wow. And what does that feel like? Is that pretty?
Feels big. It feels big.
You go to those things?
Occasionally. Occasionally, when my feet permit it.
Because you have to walk.
You have to walk.
You ride a motorcycle here? Do you ride a motorcycle in Spain, in France as well?
Yes.
And that's your main way of getting around?
Yes, it's more practical.
So we're talking about differences between the unions here and differences in the movement, turnout. They're getting gigantic turnout in Europe. And the word austerity is commonly understood over there?
Oh, yes.
Because, see, here, nobody calls it that. Nobody calls it an austerity. They call it a budget crisis. They say there's a budget crisis, as if it were going to stop, next week. Or as soon as they pass the budget, then the budget crisis will be over with. I've been arguing for some time on this station that it ain't going to be over with.
That's right.
That when they take something from you today, they're just going to take something more from you later on.
That's exactly true.
What's your understanding as a European, Robert, about what's causing all this? Why is there a crisis that we call the austerity crisis?
Well, I think it was brought in by the big banks' collapses and the states financing private interests like the big banks, and that brought them way over budget. And now, of course, the banks gave the benefits, the profits to the stockholders, and so
the poor people were just left with nothing.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
And the poor people have to pay the taxes, in fact, and while the rich people are getting the profits.
So it's not a crisis for rich people.
Oh, absolutely not.
And I think that's probably true here. I think corporate profits have been going through the ceiling, and the gap between the poorest people and the richest people is getting worse and worse.
That's exactly the problem.
So that's the same there. So it's not a crisis for rich people, so they don't call it a crisis.
That's right.
They would say everything's fine.
That's right.
If you happen to be rich and you're listening, everything is fine. Go back to sleep. But if you aren't rich, maybe you ought to be listening. Maybe there's something you could do. Maybe you'd like to call in too, 972-647-1893. KNON actually likes it a lot when you call. Now, Robert, the crisis you're saying is because all the wealth is piling up with the rich people, and it's a big crisis for everybody else.
That's right, and it's cutting down on the middle class.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, if you're a little bit rich and you think you're on the good side, well, you may be wrong, and pretty soon you will be on the poor side.
So people are going backwards pretty fast. Huh?
That's right, and it's taking really a crunch on the middle class.
How's the unemployment rate in France?
It's about 10%,
but
rising.
But they count it differently than here, and here it's I think 7.6, and falling just a little bit. It was up to as high as 10 or 11, I think, 2008, and now it's back to 7.6. So people keep thinking, well, this is going to be over with. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, there's a sun on the horizon. Is it? Is it going to be over with?
Well, I'm not sure, because the statistics indicate that they will only count the people that are registered at the unemployment office because they have benefits.
Uh-huh.
When you fall off those benefits, you're not counted as unemployed because you're not registered anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, in fact, it's really easy to play with the numbers.
Uh-huh. Okay, let's see what this caller's got. Didn't give me the name.
Hello?
Thanks for calling KNON.
Yes, hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Yes, I was just calling to get some information about Eddie Bernice Johnson. I heard you mention something about he's having a peace rally.
It's not a rally. It's it's a meeting.
Okay.
And it's usually pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
It's the women for
right.
A world of women for peace.
Yes.
Let me see if I can find this again. It's on May the 4th. I remember that. Okay. May the 4th will be the 13th Annual Peace Conference, A World of Women for World Peace, which will take place at the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas, 2200 North Pearl Street in Dallas.
Right.
And you have to RSVP, though. If you're going to go, you have to let them know. And here's the number. You got a pencil?
Yes.
214.
Yes.
922.
Yes.
8885.
85. Okay.
214-922-8885. And the woman's name that's doing this is named Sharon, and I guess she's somebody that works for Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson.
So I guess you need to call Monday through Friday, for somebody to be at this number.
During regular working hours, but you have to RSVP by April 23rd, and I think that's Tuesday.
Yes, it is.
So you better call on Monday.
Okay, what time on May 4th?
I don't have that.
Okay.
But you'll get it when you RSVP. It's usually during the day.
Okay, May 4th.
This is a pretty good thing Congresswoman Johnson does. What do you think of Congresswoman Johnson?
Well, I don't know too much about Eddie Bernice Johnson.
You don't live in her district, huh? You don't live in District 30?
No, I do not.
I see.
Yes, sir. But I think she does good things for the community, you know, and things like that.
On terms of African American issues, and in terms of retiree issues, and in terms of healthcare issues,
Right.
the woman is pure gold. She couldn't be better.
Okay.
You could not be a bit better. And in terms of labor, her record is better than any other congressperson in North Texas, with the exception of Mark Vesey, and that's because he ain't had no record, because he just got to Congress. But Congressman Vesey tells me that he admires Congresswoman Johnson, and he's going to give a tribute to her on May the 3rd. And so you're going to get a chance to check her out.
Okay, May 3rd, that's on a Friday. I'll be working that day.
Yeah, well, it'll be Friday. It'll be Friday night.
Oh, Friday night, yeah, I'll be working.
Yeah,
so May 4th, I'm hoping to attend that event.
That'll be great. And I bet you're going to love Congresswoman Johnson. I know I do.
All right, then, thank you. And I just want to thank you for your program on the radio.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Yes, ma'am. Anybody can call us at 972-647-1893. It's the Workers Beat. We like to talk about workers' issue here, and we're talking with Robert Bouchet, who lives in France and sometimes visits Dallas. So we're kind of comparing notes on what it looks like there and what it looks like here. Do people have a lot of hope in France, Robert? Are people saying, we're going to get out of this some way?
At this point, no.
Not at this point.
There was really rays of hope with the elections, presidential elections, but now that hope is declining very fast.
Didn't they elect a socialist?
That is right.
What's his name?
François Hollande.
François Hollande?
Hollande, yeah. Okay.
Well, and he disappointed? He didn't do exactly what everybody thought was going to happen?
Well, I guess he's trying, but the crisis and the pressure from the other interest groups are really high. The stakes are really high, so I guess he's not really doing everything that he may do. I don't know. But
Didn't he restore the retirement age? Because his predecessor raised the retirement age.
That is right.
France, and I think the new president, the one you got now, actually lowered it back down. I don't know what the retirement age is in France. Do you?
It was 60. Then it turned into 62, but effectively it's still 62. They just changed, they adapted a few changes. They returned it to 60 for the people that had hard jobs and that started early.
So for some people, it went back to 60.
That's right.
Well, it was pretty cool. over here on KNON, we were saying that they're raising the retirement age in France from 60 to 62, and there are riots over it. Because here it's been 65 since the 1930s, and then they're raising it up to 67, and they're talking about raising it. I mean, it comes up at every session of Congress that they want to raise it, and here you are sitting over there with 60 and for a retirement age, and a lot more benefits, a lot more health care. You have national health care, for example.
That's right.
Let's see what.
But that's been cut off significantly.
Okay, let's see what Joe has to say. Thanks for calling KNON, Joe.
Hey, Gene, how you doing?
Pretty good, brother.
Oh, good. Look, question for your guest there. I know they've had some serious problems with their monetary situation, governmentally speaking. And normally when you got money problems up top, or they can pretend or allege that they do, it affects people's benefits and stuff below. I heard him just mention they're raising the retirement rate up to from 60 to 62. And the question is that how is their shortcoming or negativity with the governmental economy affecting the people being able to move up or get more rights or better pay over there?
All right. So how's the economy, Robert, going on in France or in Europe in general?
It's very slow.
Very slow.
It's very slow.
Unemployment not getting a lot better.
In fact, you said it's rising. It's rising.
So
it's rising.
There's your answer, Joe. It is not looking good. And but the good news is that I just got from Robert Bouchet is that when they have a demonstration over there, they expect 10,000 people. You know, a normal demonstration over there is 10,000 people, whereas over here in Dallas, as you know, we're lucky to get 200 or 300. In fact, Joe and I were just at a demonstration in Austin, which was a statewide demonstration for the state workers. There's about 200,000 state workers in Texas, and we were hoping to see 10,000 people in Austin for a statewide demonstration in a state as big as this one with 20 million voters. And instead, though, we had rain, but I'd say there were about 1,200 there, maybe 1,300, and that was for statewide. People coming in on buses from around the state, and then all the people in Austin, of course, turning out. So we're not getting anything like the turnout that you're getting, and that bodes well for you guys, it seems to me.
Well, the problem is, regardless of the turnout, the governments are doing what they want to.
The governments are ignoring the people.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And elections aren't turning things around. You consider your election process to be democratic?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but they seem, as soon as they're elected, they seem to get on the side of the high-pressure financial groups.
Uh-huh. That's because that's where the money is, isn't it?
Exactly.
We just for comparison, you're saying that the socialist president of France has done some better things, and for some people was able to return the retirement age back to 60. So he's done some very good things, and our president here in the United States has done some very good things. In fact, when we elected him the first time, it was felt that we had a real progressive coalition going on in the United States that was going to really change things. Then we re-elected him a second time, and people were very, very happy with dancing in the streets over that because we're beating back the worst of the right wing, you know.
That is true.
However, he's not scoring 100% right now, and the AFL-CIO is very displeased with some attacks on our COLA, our cost of living allowance. I'll have to get back to that after the break.
Tell you all a story that's close to me, a worker who's leaning on a bended knee.
Ladies and gentlemen, AM Law Group presents a blues legend in a historic venue. This is Greg Smith here to tell you about Bobby Rush at the Sons of Herman Hall on Saturday, April the 27th. That's right, I'll be hosting a legend live and up close in this intimate venue. Get your tickets now and don't miss out and see a complete Bobby Rush show. Joining Bobby Rush will be Little Jimmy and his Feedback Band. Fort Worth party people will have a free Bobby Rush party bus leaving from the Silver Eagle bus station. More information is at knon.org. And if the Grammy-nominated Bobby Rush wasn't enough, we'll have a free dinner from Daddy Jack's Fort Worth and South Lake locations. Get your tickets now at knon.org. Bill's Records, Forever Young Records, and Comp Cleaners in Fort Worth. This is a KNON Blues benefit. Bobby Rush and Little Jimmy and his Feedback Band. April the 27th at the Sons of Herman Hall, 3414 Am Street in Dallas. Presented by AM Law Group and sponsored in part by Top Dollar Tax Service, Silver Eagle Bus Charter, and Daddy Jack's.
Recycle Revolution is a local recycling collection service and community drop-off center. They collect and accept all traditional recyclables including paper, plastic, aluminum, cardboard, and glass, as well as materials like TVs, computers, lamps, light bulbs, batteries, ballasts, and styrofoam. They offer collection services to apartments, condos, and businesses. They also offer a community drop-off located at 1703 Chestnut Street in Dallas. For more information, 214-566-3025 or recyclerevolutiondallas.com.
Coming this Saturday, April 20th, it's the 8th annual Texas Barbecue and Blues Review, benefiting the educational fund for the children of Kelly Wayne Hickey. That's this Saturday night from 4 p.m. to midnight at Charlie's. This year's Texas Blues lineup features Leo Hall and the Texas Blues Machine, Hash Brown, Pat Boyack, Gator Watson, Kenny Chavez Combo, Tony Blue, the Popsters, and an open blues jam. Charlie's is located at 1820 West Mockingbird Lane in Dallas. For more information, 972-342-8000.
I wake up in the morning at 4 old 45. The alarm clock is relentless, for goodness sakes alive. Back to the old barnyard.
We're back on KNON. This is the Workers Beat program. I'm Gene Lantz. The number is 972-647-1893, and I'm talking to Robert Bouchet, a guy from France. Say something in French.
L'union fait la force.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, it means people united are stronger.
Union.
L'union fait makes la force.
La force.
Strength.
Okay. The union makes the strength.
People's unions make strength.
Okay, we say solidarity forever because the union makes us strong.
That's right. That's about the same thing.
That's kind of the message, isn't it?
That's right.
In France and in the United States. You heard it here. 972-647-1893. Now I have another question that may seem obscure at first. Do you celebrate May the 1st in France?
Of course. And there's big demonstrations.
Big demonstrations
on that occasion.
May the 1st.
Oh, yeah.
Is that all over Europe or just in France?
Oh, no, it's all over Europe.
It's all over the world, actually, isn't it?
That's right.
And do you have any idea what you're celebrating? What historical event that is, May the 1st?
Well, I know on May the 1st there's a lot of demonstrations because the strikes in the past, and it's really the Workers' Day.
It's the Workers' Day, but why did they pick that day? Why is it May the 1st?
Oh, good question.
So you don't know. Okay.
I don't recall.
It's a funny thing. It's a funny thing because the whole world celebrates May the 1st, but they don't here in the United States. And yet what they're celebrating is something that happened here. In Chicago in 1886, we had big demonstrations for the 8-hour day. So we're celebrating the 8-hour day on Workers' Day, May the 1st, and it's celebrated all over the world. Not celebrated here. But this year, we're going to change it a little bit. We're going to have a celebration at SMU, and I'm going to get to speak about the history of May the 1st and what happened in Chicago in 1886. Let's see what Beverly has to bring us. Good morning, Beverly. Thanks for calling KNON.
Good morning. I have a question.
Shoot.
Here in the United States, we pay individual income tax and Social Security that goes towards those funds. In France or abroad, they're more socialist and they are taxed, and the money that they purchase goes to a general fund. Is there an issue where the government borrows from those funds? Why is it that they've accumulated over a number of years and now there seems to be less?
Why are they cutting in Europe? Is that what you mean?
Right,
why are they cutting back in Europe? Because they had a lot more benefits than the United States, and they still have a lot more than the United States.
As a big war chest fund, if you will, say 40% out of every dollar, was going towards the socialist
the social programs.
Mm-hmm. Right, the social program. Mm-hmm. So if that's been happening for 20, 30, however many years, then the argument is, well, what's the war chest? I mean, is it because they've had benefits paid out longer that it seems to be reducing? Because here they're saying, like, with unemployment, or where we fund things here, with Social Security and with unemployment, that you have X number of dollars. But I think we borrow here from those general funds for other purposes. We allocate the pie to our own governmental needs versus,
They're supposed to keep those funds separate, and they used to keep those funds separate here in the United States. But nowadays, the politicians have been getting their hands on it as much as they possibly can. Is it different in Europe?
No, same thing.
But it is true, what Beverly said, is it not, that there's not as much money for the social programs as you used to have?
That is totally right.
Okay, can you explain it as to why that would be?
Well, the big corporations are pretty much getting tax exemptions, which they shouldn't.
Same as here.
And they're not paying their dues.
Same as here. They've been cutting taxes for corporations right and left. And in fact, the governor of Texas just announced another big tax cut for the corporations in Texas. He wants to give them billions of dollars in tax cuts. I think it's $1.26 billion. And he doesn't want to restore funding for the schools. So that's the same thing. Schools is a social program. So instead of helping the children in the schools, Governor of Texas wants to help big corporations with tax breaks.
Well, education is dangerous. If people are educated, they don't manage to protest as well.
Well, we should think about that. You're saying education is dangerous. Beverly, were you aware that it used to be illegal to educate African Americans? Oh, she's gone? Okay, well, I'll just ask everybody then. Call us in 972-647-1893 if you know that it used to be illegal to educate African Americans at all. And then even after they won the right to go to school, they couldn't get the funding that was supposed to be the right of every school child. And Mexican Americans, and there's a lot of them walking around in Dallas right now that can remember when they got whipped in school for speaking Spanish. So this is not a long time ago. We're talking about pretty recently. That educational opportunity was very, very limited if you happen to be black or brown in the United States.
Or just poor. And of course, black and brown mostly were poor, so they had it both. They had it coming at them from both sides. And theoretically, we've made some progress since then, but they're certainly trying to turn the clock back today. That's right.
I want to know, if in Europe, would you say that what's happening with social programs is that governments and corporations are trying to turn the clock back, trying to make it like it was, say, before World War II?
Probably.
Trying to go
Probably
backwards.
Because there's no crisis on the rich corporations. The profits are very high.
Mm-hmm. So they're doing very, very well.
Exactly.
And it's
the stock market's doing very well.
It's the rest of us that are suffering. 972-647-1893. We thank Beverly for having called and brought a very good question to us. And I've been kind of putting off bringing this up, but because I know it gets complicated, and that's immigration. Because here in the United States, the AFL-CIO says that they're fairly pleased with the immigration bill that's coming out of the Senate. The U.S. senators, known as the Gang of Eight, which was 4 Democrats and 4 Republicans, have released a bill that is a first step toward much-needed reform of our broken immigration system. Immigration reform, according to the unions, must be fair and should reflect our shared values of opportunity, voice, and justice for all, and must ensure that workers in every industry are protected from employer exploitation. The Communication Workers of America has many questions about this proposal, and they will continue to analyze the 844-page bill. But they do have some initial concerns and will work with their allies to help bring about improvements to the bill. That's from the communication workers. So the immigration bill that's come out of the Senate now, they're thinking, labor is thinking this is a pretty good first step. So how's the immigration question in France, Robert Bouchet?
Well, there's 2 aspects to it, because France is part of the European community.
All right.
So there is no immigration within Europe aspects, because all the citizens from the European countries are free to immigrate and work wherever in Europe they want to. So that's a step up.
If they come from Switzerland, you live right on the border there. If they come from Switzerland to France, they can just do that.
Well, Switzerland is not part of the European community.
Oh, I didn't know that. So, okay, what about Belgium? Are they?
Oh, Belgium, it's no problems.
So they can go from Belgium to France
and work and back and forth in Spain, and just not as easily as you go from Texas to Oklahoma, but it's getting that way.
Well, what about Turkey? Turkey's trying to get in the European Union.
Turkey is not in the European Union.
But they're trying to get in it, though. And if they do, does that mean they'll be walking back and forth between the different countries and immigrating wherever they want to?
They've got a long way to go on the Democratic side, and they have to make certain adjustments. And the question is still on the debate, and it's
so
they may become eventually part of the European Union, but it may take 10 or 20 years.
It's a hard topic for them, immigration, and it's a hard topic for us over here. I want to bring up something else that's just a little bit weird. Today is 420, and today at 4:20 in the afternoon, everybody in America, not everybody in America, but lots of folks in America are going to be toking marijuana. For some reason, 420 is the magical day for everybody to get high on marijuana. And
Do you know the history behind that?
That's what I'm trying to find out, Clint.
It's because in the 80s, the Los Angeles code for when they arrested someone with marijuana was 420.
Ah, so when the marijuana busts used to be called a 420 by the cops. So 420 is the day for getting high on marijuana. They're going to have a big celebration in Colorado, and at 420 today, I guess it'll be 3:20 our time. They're all going to get stoned.
If it's 420 Colorado, it's 520 here.
Okay, 5:20 here, so 4:20 in Colorado. They're all going to get stoned because they can do that in downtown Denver now. So I wanted to point this out. If you have heard something particularly profound on your radio today, if somebody here on KNON said something that seemed very insightful, profound, and life-changing, you're probably stoned. That's probably what it is. Or maybe your neighbors are stoned and you're getting secondary smoke. So watch out for today. It's 4:20 and it's time for everybody to get stoned. I'm not going to because I'm political. I don't ever do anything illegal. But Randy's on the line. Let's see what Randy has to say. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, Gene. I'm glad Clint was there because I knew that sounded like you was fixing to put me on the spot.
Oh, did you agree with Clint that it was because?
Well, I didn't know it was that, but I'm sure Clint is an honest man, and that probably is the true reason.
Well, the Dallas Morning News this morning said they had no idea why it was 4:20, but it is 4:20.
Well, now KNON done broke broke the story, didn't they?
Sure did.
They knew what it was all about. That's good.
What'd you call about, Randy? What's
well,
up?
I called. You're talking about Rick Perry wanting to give another whatever $1 billion or millions of dollars to corporations to come to Texas. Well,
Yep.
We as the people can fight that, Gene.
How do we do that?
The way we do that is not buy those corporations' products. And tell them, well, we can't buy your product. It's not anything personal. It's just business. We need this money to go to our sons and daughters' education.
Any particular corporations you'd like to boycott?
Well, right now, I could say boycott Bass Pro Shop because my city, the city of Garland, gave them $250,000 in tax abatements. Not tax abatements. We put $250,000 worth of infrastructure in that they didn't have to pay $1 to get to.
So they just gave that to the company.
They just gave it to Bass Pro Shop sitting on Lake Ray Hubbard right over here.
What about Waste Management Specialists that's headquartered here in Dallas? Would that be a corporation that we should be boycotting?
If they're doing things to their employees and they're not giving you a good service,
I saw this in the morning news during the past week, and I should have cut it out and brought it in, but there is a bill being presented in the Texas legislature that would expand the ability of states of the United States to dump their radioactive waste in Texas. And this is because of a millionaire here in Dallas who is a big contributor to the Republican Party. Maybe Jim Schutz knows more about it. Maybe he can talk about it on his program because he's coming in after us. And anyway, they're going to expand the radioactive waste out in West Texas. And there's some guy that lives here in Dallas, a big contributor to the Republican Party. And the bill not only would expand that, but it would also shut people up and make it that they no longer have to have public hearings about it, and nobody has to find out nothing about it. And the state legislature would just let this happen and let the guy rake in the money and let the radioactive waste pour into the United States. But I'm getting back to Robert Bouchet from France because nuclear power just made me think of something else. Or marijuana. Do you want to comment on marijuana? Do they smoke it over there?
Well, the law implications are different from country to country. France is very strict about the marijuana. Holland, as you know, is more lenient. I
thought you could smoke it in Holland.
Yes.
It's legal.
Oh, yes, it is.
How far is that from where you live?
Also, well, from where I live, it's about 500 miles, but France is, the northern border of France is about maybe 100 miles from Holland. And of course, in Spain, they're very lenient.
They are.
And in Switzerland also, and most European countries.
So they're toking it up over there.
That's right. And the Czechs also are very lenient. The basically, France is the country that's more backwards towards leniency. It's very strict.
And what about nuclear power, nuclear waste, and stuff like that? Is that an issue for you guys?
Oh, it's a big issue since we've got Areva, which is the state-owned company, private company, which is mostly owned by the state.
Now, I saw this, something that confused me a lot, because it said that in France they know what to do with the nuclear waste. Because over here it's just piling up. There's this big gobs of nuclear waste all over the place.
That's right. They know what to do. We don't talk about it.
What they do is not mention it, huh?
That's right. We're safe. We're better than everybody else. Just like when Chernobyl occurred, we had good border patrol. They stopped the cloud from coming into France.
So after Chernobyl blew up, then all they did was stop people from coming and shut people up about it.
No, they stopped the cloud from coming in and over our country.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, that's the official version.
So the official version is not exactly what's really going on.
Exactly.
So they don't know what to do about nuclear waste in France any more than we do.
That's right.
And the nuclear waste is just piling up around the world.
That is right.
And there's not a darn thing anybody's doing about it. Well, I mean, there's studies of it.
Oh, they're dumping a bunch in Africa.
They are dumping it in Africa. Well, let me tell you where they dump it here in the United States. They dump it in Texas. And Waste Management is a company that's headquartered here in Dallas that has arranged to dump stuff in West Texas, and now they're going if they get their bill passed through the Congress, through the legislature, they're going to dump more stuff on us. Robert, it's about time for us to shut it down. We have to make way to Jim Schutz, who's now the champion of the darkest hour on radio, and he'll be following us. I never get to mention that Jim is a world-renowned author, and one of his books is The Accommodation, worldwide expert on racism in Dallas. So people should call and talk to Jim about that. 972-647-1893. Robert, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And thank you very much for being with us, and thanks for giving us a little French lesson and all of that stuff about what's going on in Europe. We'll be back next week.
KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.